It is a total destruction of the Golden Flashes. What kind of history Penn State makes in their lopsided win over Kent State.
He's been really good. I just can't wait to keep it going.
Ugly ending the last time Illinois showed up in Happy Valley. This year's team is ranked and understands the primetime crowd is going to be a factor.
Their fans are intelligent, they've got tradition.
And they are still revered in State College 30 years later.
Penn State takes the lead.
The 1994 undefeated Nittany Lions are a team worth celebrating.
I played football a long, long time, and I've never been part of a team that the players really rallied around each other and were committed to each other like that 94 team.
The quest for another Big Ten title now begins. This is Nittany Game Week. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nittany Game Week. I'm Todd Sadowski alongside former Nittany Lions coaches Jay Paterno and Tom Bradley. Complete destruction. That's the only way to describe a 56-0 beatdown of Kent State. Defense posts a shutout. Offense racks up the most yards in team history for a single game. So what do you take from that victory heading into Big Ten conference play?
You got it on tape. You got some young guys to play. You're happy you didn't lose anybody to injury, and you move on because you can't get caught up in that.
To me, it's just getting those younger guys in a game situation. You can practice all you want. Getting them on the field, getting them out there, getting them a part of it. Those reps, you can't replace them, and that's a great opportunity for some young guys.
Yeah, definitely a confidence builder for some of the guys on the team. 718 yards of total offense, only 67 yards allowed. 8 different Nittany Lions reached the end zone. We'll discuss what we've learned about the team now that they've run through the non-conference schedule unblemished in our opening drive. Of course, we all remember that 1926 team that destroyed Susquehanna U, but the numbers tell us last Saturday was better. After a bit of a slow start, the balance is impressive. 8 different guys scoring, and tight end Tyler Warren actually tossing a touchdown pass to Nick Singleton.
That Susquehanna U might have beaten Kent State because remember, Kent State was down to their third quarterback. But again, they did some things. They showed some things on tape that are going to make people have to practice against, and that's a plus.
Those games aren't easy, though. You know, sometimes as a coach, you're like, okay, we're better than this team. We got to get this going. Let's get out of here with the win. Nobody get hurt. You know, just get everybody in the game and let's get ready for next week.
And it did take them a little bit to get going. I mean, with 5 minutes to go in the first half, it was 7-0. And then all heck broke loose,
they
thankfully.
Really kicked it into high gear
Absolutely.
from there. No matter who the opponent is, the guys on offense are excited to see everyone get involved and taste some success.
Just, the confidence, the offense as a whole, seeing what we're capable of, and we did a lot of things well today, and we got things we're going to work on. So just coming in and handling those and staying together as an offense is really important. I think we've got a good thing going so far through these first 3 games, so just keep building on that will be important.
Yeah, a lot of pride for that. Everybody did good today. A lot of players that were on the D squad, they came in and made some big plays too. So at the end of the day, we had a big win, so we just got to move on from it.
Yeah, the yardage record, not the only mark to fall on Saturday. The Nittany Lions racked up 40 first downs, breaking the old mark of 38 set against West Virginia in 1962.
Well, on the other side of the ball, Tom, the defense shut them out, kept them under 100 yards. Abdul Carter gets his first sack of the year in week 3 against at defensive end. But, what do you say about what they did?
They're not easy to come about. I don't care who the opponent is. When you get a shutout, that's a big deal. And that's something they'll carry over into next week's game.
Yeah, so they get the young guys in there as well, including a young safety as Kevin Winston Jr. is out. I mean, those are reps. You need to see what's going to be happening as you enter Big Ten conference play, and you're going to face bigger challenges ahead.
It is, and it's the opportunity to get out there with your teammates, and feel more comfortable because they're going to need them down the road. Those reps are going to be valuable experience because this is an opportunity to get guys in the game. And that's very important as you get going down the road. You want guys that have some experience. Yeah, they get to clean up those communication breakdowns they had against Bowling Green. Post-game, it's the same theme as the offense. Everyone contributes to get the job done.
Going through camp with the guys that we have now, seeing what they're made of, seeing how they work, seeing how they practice every day. And it showed today. Everybody came in and did their job. Players that started the game, even when they went out, and the young guys came in, they finished the game, they kept it standard, didn't allow a point. So I knew what we had.
A good bounce back after a poor first half against Bowling Green. Bigger challenges, as we mentioned, straight ahead. That's the next topic of discussion. Ready or not, here comes the meat of the schedule. 3 of the next 5 opponents are ranked, starting with number 19, Illinois, at night in Beaver Stadium.
Yeah, Illinois is a much different team than the one Penn State beat last year with 17. We'll talk about the scouting report. They went from -8 in turnover margin last year to +7, so we'll talk about that coming up.
That crowd will be electric. It's going to be exciting. Whether it's a whiteout or not a whiteout, it's going to be exciting.
Road game at West Virginia, competitive game against Bowling Green, blowout of Kent State. That's the path that has led them to conference play. Their Big Ten Conference opener last year was against Illinois in Champaign. They opened with a decisive win there. Our coaches tell us what to expect against the Fighting Illini under the lights in our roadmap to victory when Nittany Game Week returns.
Roadmap to Victory is sponsored by the R&R family of companies.
Welcome back to Nittany Game Week. It wasn't pretty the last time Illinois visited Beaver Stadium. 9 overtimes, all kinds of missed two-point conversions in those extra sessions. An unbalanced offensive line scheme led to a big day rushing for Illinois a few years ago. Coach Bradley, Coach Paterno, they just went into Lincoln to beat a ranked Nebraska squad. What do the Nittany Lions need to be aware of coming into this matchup with the 19th ranked team in the country?
Well, I think last year, Penn State goes to Illinois, they win by 17. Game was a lot closer than you think, but it was a +5 turnover margin for Penn State, which is the difference. This is a different Illinois team, and that's been the biggest thing. They're doing better points per game. They're doing better in a number of things. They're 100% in the red zone, which is important. Those are big things for them. When you look at all the numbers, they're a much better team. They are big at running back. 6'3", 250 is their starter. 6'1", 235 is McCray, who had 142 yards against Penn State in that game we mentioned. And they've gotten better at wideout. The quarterback is playing no interceptions this year as opposed to last year when they had 13 interceptions as a team. So a very different team in terms of taking care of the little things. Now, you mentioned the unbalanced line. This is what it looked like. There's good, this was 9 blockers, not even a wideout in the game. That kind of gives you nightmares. And speaking of nightmares, this meme, this isn't real, obviously, but that's how it felt. Now, will Illinois do those things? What's similar to that team? They like the power run game. But they are more wideout. There's a lot more wideouts in the game than they've had in the past. We're going to spread you out a little bit more. 103 career starts with a mobile quarterback and a big back, and they're going to want to run the power. And watch this, Tom, and talk about watching a guy that plays 250 run downhill. How much does that excite you on defense?
Wouldn't excite me if I'm a corner playing out there.
No, that's a big man to bring down.
This
is the first play of that overtime. Yeah. Now, let's talk about the unbalanced extra line. They do it. 6 linemen, not 9 this time. Would you add the tight end in, the extra lineman, and even the wideouts 200 pounds? These 7 blockers over a ton, and they will do some things with play action, and they bring that big man out for the touchdown, Tom, against Nebraska.
Yeah, they do. There's so many things. When you start looking at, we're talking about the big formation, the big boys in the game. You're going to see that on Saturday for sure. One
thing that's the difference about Illinois this year, there's more talent. They're deeper at wideout. So that does create some situations, Tom, where run support, 3-by-1, so to speak, formation. Now you got one-on-one. Now how important is it to be able to hold up there?
Well, you're going to see a lot of one-on-ones in this game because of the run game. You're going to see a lot of 7 guys around the ball to stop that run. So there's going to be a lot of one-on-one shots, and that's both sides of the ball, offense and defense.
Yeah, keep in mind that wideout's making this catch. Franklin is the career leader among active receivers, over 280-something receptions already. Now let's talk about the defense. Where are they better? Turnovers. Their numbers are not as good against the run, but again, they are +7 in turnovers, 7 interceptions. That's why the points per game is down for them. 7 interceptions. They had 7 all of last year. Let's talk about some of the people to look at. The secondary, very experienced back there. A number of guys, Scott are the 2 guys in secondary. Keep an eye on. They are not related. They're going to have the safety low, run support, things that are important, tight ends and play action. That's been good for Penn State this year. And then you're going to have to win some one-on-one matchups out there, Tom.
You're definitely going to have to, because one of the things they're able to do, they're getting there with 4 guys. The pass rush is what's really helping.
Let's talk about how they're getting those turnovers. They're doing a really good job of reading quarterbacks' eyes. Al, we've talked about at times, has been gotten locked into guys, and here's a great play by the corner, reading the quarterback's eyes. How important is that to look those guys off?
Very important. When you see a play like this, you know how important it is.
Yeah, and the secondary is very experienced. Now, to beat them, they're going to do a lot of things disguising coverages. That's given some problems. They're aggressive in physical coverage. They will disguise. Penn State only hit 46% of their passes last year against them. But if you catch them trying to switch up like this quarterback from Nebraska does, you can get big plays. And this is a big play in the game to get Nebraska back to tie it overtime, but then they did a great job in the overtime shutting them down. And one last note on special teams, their kicker is 7 of 8 for field goals. And then they have another kicker that comes in and hit a 59-yarder as well. So they get across that 50, they're looking at points.
Thank you, coaches. Late September, under the lights, ranked opponent. It feels like it's a whiteout atmosphere, and apparently it will look like a whiteout. Coach Franklin has asked for whiteout energy for this game. Illinois head coach Brett Bielema knows how difficult a night victory is for any team coming to Happy Valley.
It's kind of like a spaceship out in the middle of nowhere, and there's dress. I don't know if they're going to be in blue and white or whatever they're going to be in this weekend. They're going to be dressed right, and it's probably going to be one or the other. I know they're calling for a whiteout energy, whatever the hell that means. But I would just tell you that, like, the part that really I think stands out is their fans are intelligent. They've got tradition.
Yeah, Coach Bielema said it's similar to Nebraska, and they just beat the Huskers on the road. Tough assignment to win 2 straight in hostile territory. It sure would help to have a player like Marco Rivera along the offensive line. The 1994 Penn State team enjoyed watching him push people around. The former NFL All-Pro is our Impact interview guest. He talks about the clutch drives that kept that team undefeated when we come back. You're watching Nittany Game Week.
Impact Interview is sponsored by the Pocono Mountains, where small-town charm meets big adventures. Book your trip today by visiting PoconoMountains.com.
Welcome back to Nittany Game Week. This week's Impact interview is a member of the undefeated 1994 Penn State team, and like many of his teammates, Marco Rivera had an exceptional NFL career, 11 years in the league, 9 with Green Bay, 2 with Dallas, 3-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro. Marco Rivera, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Well, absolutely. Thank you for having me. And I'm excited to get started.
All right, well, Scrap and Jay are going to have to wait a second. I got the first question. So it's the 30-year anniversary of the 94 team, a very unselfish group of players. Perfect time to reminisce considering the opponent. You got Illinois this week to Penn State, and really that's the game a lot of people look to, Marco, about your 94 team, that 90-yard drive to clinch the Big Ten title. So take us into the huddle. What's the mindset as you begin that drive with that group of guys?
Well, you hit it right on the head. When you talk about unselfish, that whole 94 team was the most unselfish group of football players that I've ever been around. Just think about the talent that we had on that team and the unselfishness. The guys were humble. The guys were committed to the team. We just had I played football a long, long time, and I've never been part of a team that the players really rallied around each other and were committed to each other like that 94 team. You think about that day, that Illinois game, the whole day started it was a weird trip. I don't know if you guys remember, but remember the hotel? When we woke up in the morning, there was no electricity in the hotel. And we had to walk downstairs. And Joe did not want us to go back up those stairs because I think we were on the top 2 floors. And he had us down in the lobby, and we ate like pizzas and hoagies for pregame. And we headed to the stadium. I mean, the entire town had no electricity. Something happened. Rumor has it like one of the frats kind of knocked over a pole or something. Who knows? It was 30 years ago. But that whole game started. And, we were all out of sorts. We were not ourselves. I mean, Illinois came in and they put 21 points on us right off the back. I think by the end of the first quarter, it was 21-0. And, and perfect example, we're on the sideline. And this is what I remember. The players, nobody was pointing fingers. Nobody was yelling. Nobody was screaming or cursing or, this is you and we got to do this. No. The guys were so confident that we were like, okay, look, we dug a hole. We got to get out of it. The coaches were poised. The coaches were not fighting amongst themselves. The coaches were not screaming at the players. right? When we were down 21-0, what we saw was a bunch of guys with enough confidence and enough ability that we knew we were going to get this done. We were not leaving that stadium without the victory. You know, you look at Kerry Collins, the game that he had, the game that Bobby Ingram had, the game that Kyle Brady had, the offensive line, no pressures when we needed no pressures. That last drive, I mean, it was a thing of beauty. Kerry in command of the huddle. The guys, you could hear a pin drop in that huddle. I know we were in Illinois. It was loud. The fans were like really like ravenous during that last portion of the game. But for some reason, in that huddle, all you saw was focus, attention to detail, and the words coming out of Kerry Collins was just as loud as ever. And the guys really were focused and poised to get that drive done. One play at a time. Just we connected, we got down to the goal line, and we scored when we had to score. We just focused in on the game, and we would determine not to leave without a victory.
So, Mark, you played for Green Bay and Dallas, obviously two of the more passionate fan bases in the NFL, but certainly not more passionate than the Penn State fan base. And I know your experience with Penn State fans, especially for people like Lou Gatto and Angie Gatto, over the years. How much did the fan support and those friendships that you made mean to you?
Oh, it's that adds to part of why players really go to Penn State. You know, you go to Penn State and you meet a Lou and Angie Gatto, who really adopted the team and adopted the players like if they were their own kids. You know, he would invite us to his house. He would feed us. He would feed us. If he could feed us every day, he would. But, you know, I met Louis when I was a freshman at Penn State. I think it was at the quarterback luncheon. He was sitting at the table, and he was just like a little boy that just got a new toy. He was giggling and smiling, and I could tell he really loved being there. He really loved the players. He knew everything about every player, and we just hit it off, you know, and we became like best of friends throughout the years. They did so much for us, as you know. They were personally, emotionally involved with the team and the players, and they really took care of us.
Your 11-year NFL career included 9 years in Green Bay and 2 years in Dallas. Among the Pro Bowls and All-Pro selections, what stands out about your time as such a successful NFL player?
You know, and Tom, you hit it on the head. I played a long time in the NFL, had a lot of success. But I guess what stands out the most, I would say that one game in Green Bay when our quarterback, Brett Favre, when his father passed away, we were on the road. We were playing the Oakland Raiders at Oakland. Now, if you're an NFL fan, you know how difficult it is to play in Oakland. Their fans are ravenous. I mean, they are intense. They're almost as intense as Philadelphia Eagles fans. But the Eagles fans are number one, hands down. Oakland fans are number two. So we get there. Brett Favre, his father passes away tragically. We don't know if he's going to start. We have an emergency team meeting. He stands up in front of the team. Now, we got, when you travel on the road, you go with everybody. So there was about 90 people crammed into this conference room in the hotel. And he gets up there and he starts telling us, and he starts talking in detail, and he starts to tear up. Let me tell you, there was not one dry eye in that room. I mean, if it was 90 men in that room, all 90 guys were tearing up, and we rallied around our quarterback. He could have easily gone home and been with his family, but he said, you know what? Big Irv would want me to play this game, and I'm going to play this game. And when he said that, I've never seen a team rally around a player, and that night was magical.
Well, thanks to Marco for spending some time with us. We need to step aside from the TV show for a quick break, but make sure to go to NittanyGameWeek.com for the entire conversation with Marco Rivera. A lot of great stories from him, along with our other web-exclusive content, like our depth chart and Nittany Game Week podcast. Still to come, our scrap metal winner. He's been working hard to get back to 100%. Why his contributions stand out in this dismantling of Kent State. We're heading into the final minutes on Nittany Game Week.
The Nittany Game Week Depth Chart is brought to you by Burke and Bradley Orthopedics. Located in Pittsburgh, Burke and Bradley Orthopedics is a comprehensive sports medicine practice, providing patients with the most current and innovative approaches in diagnosis and treatment. Scrap Metal is sponsored by the We Are In, voted #1 game day restaurant in Center County. Follow us on Facebook and visit thewearein.com or call for dinner or room reservations.
Time to hand out our weekly award from Tom Scrap Bradley. So many worthy players to choose from when you win 56-0.
And this week's winner, redshirt junior Liam Clifford, Mainville, Ohio, St. Xavier High School. Sean Clifford's younger brother, but a heck of a good player in his own right. Been working hard to get himself 100% healthy and was able to add another weapon to Penn State's offense. Clifford had his first career touchdown grab, a career-high 64 yards receiving with a career-best 42-yard reception in the second quarter, and he wins the most coveted award on this television show.
Last week's question was in a 12-year home-and-home against Notre Dame. How many of those games, what was Penn State's record? Penn State went 8-4. Our winner is Joy Ruth, who gets a copy of the book Blitzed. And now on to this week's question, and it's Illinois-based. Illinois' Memorial Stadium was dedicated 100 years ago, and in that first game after it was dedicated, Red Grange set a record with 6 touchdowns against Michigan. Which Penn State quarterback tied the Memorial Stadium record by scoring and throwing for 6 touchdowns in one half against Illinois?
Submit your answer at NittanyGameWeek.com. And Nittany Game Week is much more than a television show. Make sure you check out our depth chart at NittanyGameWeek.com. The depth chart, a collection of businesses that support the show, provide our viewers with places to eat, travel, and shop, or professional services owned and operated by people with a special connection to Penn State. If you haven't noticed yet, we have a lot to share with you when it comes to college football. It doesn't all fit into a tidy 30-minute window. Make sure you check out our website, NittanyGameWeek.com, for web-exclusive content. And keep those pride picks coming. Should get some good ones from the night game this weekend versus Illinois. Simply go to the website, submit your pick, and show us your Penn State pride. For Jay and Tom, I'm Todd. Thanks so much for watching Nittany Game Week. We'll see you next time.